wonderful people. How are you doing today? I hope you're fine. I hope you're enjoying this season. I wish you a prosperous new year in advance. You're welcome back to Health Conference YouTube channel. Today I want us to talk about something very important, and this is related to the topic of last week, which was infertility. So last week we looked at what infertility really is, the causes and treatments. But today I want us to look at something way cheaper and easier than the treatment of infertility. I want us to decongest fertility clinics today by talking about the prevention of infertility. I mean, those things we can do to increase our chances of remaining fertile and reduce our chances of going down with infertility. Okay, so before I start, I would like us to refresh our minds on the causes. Of course, you wouldn't know how to prevent something if you don't know what can cause it. So please, if you've not seen the video of last week, or even if you have, you can still refresh your minds by going back to that video. Okay, and also I want us to recap the definition of infertility. So last week I said that the World Health Organization defines infertility as a disease of the reproductive system defined by a failure to achieve a clinical pregnancy after 12 months or more of regular unprotected sexual intercourse. Okay, now, so what are those things we could do to help reduce our chances of being infertile? Let's look at the occupational factor as discussed last week. Overexposure to industrial toxins such as mercury, lead, cadmium, and all others can reduce our chances of being fertile. I'm not saying you should quit your job like I said last week, but you just need to limit your exposure to these substances because they are harmful to your reproductive health. And employers in such organizations, please make available to your staff the necessary appropriate personal protective equipment to protect their reproductive health. Also, let's look at the distance travelers. Research has revealed that use of tight pants when traveling, like for the drivers now, of course, you know, the engine emits heat. A lot of heat comes from the engine, and this affects the testes. That's the balls where sperm is produced. And so this works against sperm production and motility. So please avoid the use of tight pants. Use pants made from fabrics that promote ventilation, because overheating of the testes is harmful to sperm production. Also, avoid hot temperatures. If you work in such an organization where there's so much heat, maybe in a kitchen or a bakery, please, you need to take regular breaks to go out and just get refreshed. Okay, you just need to avoid overheating the testes. Also, avoid the use of hot baths and jacuzzis. Please just avoid these things to protect your reproductive health. Okay, now let's look at lifestyle factor. Smokers are liable to be infertile. Please avoid smoke, be it first hand or second hand smoke. Please avoid these smokes because they are very harmful to the reproductive health. And also use of alcohol, excessive use of alcohol. Please avoid alcohol because this works against your hormonal level. The hormone in men known as testosterone, alcohol works against it. Please avoid excessive intake of alcohol to protect your fertility. Also, now let's look at use of drugs. Most of us are fond of abusing drugs. We just feel, okay, because this drug has worked in the past for us, or this drug has worked for so person, so we should use it too. Please avoid indiscriminate use of drugs. Make sure you get prescription from your physician before using any drug, because you don't know the effects of these drugs. Now, antibiotics too. Sometimes we feel we have an infection and then let's just go, okay, we have typhoid, let's just go for anything. No, visit your doctor and get a prescription before using, because antibiotics, as good as they work, as well as they work on microorganisms, they also work on cells. They can damage the sperm cells and other cells vital and essential in reproduction. Okay, now let's look at also use of OCPs, oral contraceptive pills. Please, ladies, avoid postnatal. Like I said last time, avoid this drug. Even if you're raped, please go to the hospital. Your doctor will prescribe a drug for you, and that is what you should go with. You just can't take anything. You just can't get advice from anybody in non-medic and just go ahead with it. Please make sure you get prescriptions from your doctor before taking any drug. Okay, now let's look at dietary factor. Like I said last time, Weight extremes are harmful to reproductive health. They are harmful to your reproductive health. They are harmful to your fertility. Even in fertility treatments, they can deal with the effectiveness of this treatment, because when you're overweight or underweight, there's alteration in your hormonal levels, and of course that's when you hear of hormonal imbalance, and that is a problem to fertility. Please avoid weight extremes. Stay within shape. Make sure your body mass index is within the normal. Please avoid being obese or too thin. Okay, now let's talk about primary diseases. This is one of the factors. There's certain diseases that can expose you that are primary to infertility, like diabetes mellitus. Talk about hypertension. Of course, obesity is one of them. Please, you have to manage. You have to stay. This tells us that we have to stay healthy as much as we can. We just have to stay healthy. Avoid those things that can predispose you to diabetes mellitus. Of course, those things that are within your control, avoid them in order to avoid a complication of diabetes mellitus. It could be infertility too. Avoid hypertension in order to avoid a secondary thing, infertility. Please, we just need to avoid these things. Also, let's talk about early detection of infections. Now, you have to whenever you feel any sort of discomfort, please visit the hospital for early detection of whatever is wrong with you. Could be an infection. Ladies, of course, when you notice anything unusual in your private parts, please visit a doctor. I don't mean anybody. Just visit a doctor for early detection of whatever infection is there and treatment to prevent a complication that could be disastrous. Also, please, we have to be mindful. Multiple sex partners can predispose us to infection. It exposes us to infection. So please do all you can to avoid multiple sex partners in order to prevent STIs. Also, now 90% of unwanted pregnancies result in abortion. Abortion can cause so many problems that can inhibit the stay of a baby, that can be problematic to conception. So please avoid premarital sex or use latex condom, better still, to prevent unwanted pregnancy that will eventually lead to abortion and eventually lead to infertility or inability to conceive when you become eventually ready for a child. Please, let's just be careful. Let's stay green. Let's do this and protect the future of our fertility. Thank you so much. I think I've talked at length. Okay, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Just don't forget, please subscribe to get fresh videos every Friday. You don't know what awaits you next Friday, so please subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.